you just never know which direction the show is going to take here. That's why we prepare, and then we open it up to you, 205-342-9904. We do have the Johnson & Marshall Christian Moment of the week coming up with Scotty Hollins. But right now, we're going to get to that coaching conversation. We're going to hold the Jalen fill in the blanks off at least one more day, James, because just don't have time to get to it. But I'm going to give my synopsis of the coaching change. We had 4 options. You had Bill Belichick, the New England Patriots, Gino Auriemma, UConn women, Nick Saban, and Greg Popovich. Who's the best coach in college? I mean, in the country. First of all, Greg Popovich didn't get a lot of love at all, but he got more support than Belichick, which surprises me. Popovich, the reason Popovich is in this conversation to me is he's done it in what they call a small market. He's done it without a whole lot of hoopla, but he's done it over, 3 decades now, going back to the first one he won with Duncan. I know it's been 20-plus years, but he's done it with a style, James, that is just bland. I mean, the superstars for them, Tim Duncan, Kawhi Leonard. Okay, think about that. Those 2 guys are probably the least media-hungry guys in the country.
You remember when Colin Cowherd, 3 years ago after the Ole Miss loss for Alabama, inside Bryant-Denny Stadium, called Alabama's dynasty at that point a quote-unquote boring dynasty?
Yeah.
That's kind of what the Spurs suffer from at the NBA level.
Yeah, they have superstars, but they don't have celebrities. Does that make sense? They have superstar players, but they're not celebrities. They're not people and faces that you're going to just pick up. You know, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker.
Not pop culture icons.
That's right. And Kawhi Leonard. But they have done it as long as anyone has done it. Actually, I think they've been relevant on and off consistently for longer than any of these coaches that's on here. Then you got Gino Auriemma of the UConn women. This is no disrespect for him. In his sport, he is the most dominant coach in the country. But, and this is, especially in today's world, you have to be careful, James, what you say. Women's basketball literally has a couple of teams that are going to challenge each other. And it's just strictly a numbers game. And once he established himself as a really, really, really good coach, he now gets the best players, and he doesn't have it. There's not as many to go around. In other words, there's not as many 5 stars in women's basketball that there are in football, and they're spread out a lot more. You know what I mean? And so impressive what he's done. Not taking anything away from him, but I can't put him in this category. And it may be just because women's sports are new. It hasn't been around long enough. There's not enough teams that have proven that they can win the championship and don't have the resources as a whole from a personnel standpoint and from a money standpoint to compete with UConn. So that brings it down to the 2 coaches, Belichick and Saban. To me, this was the conversation overall. And you look at one coach, you look at Nick Saban, and he goes out and he gets the best players in the country. Okay? So Nick Saban is coaching the best players in the country. And so a lot of people didn't give him credit for that. They say that Nick Saban goes around every year and gets 5 to 10 first-round draft picks, and that's who he's coaching up. Then you got the other side is you got Belichick, who seems to take guys that no one wants, seems to take guys who are supposedly washed up, seems to take guys who have been trouble everywhere else, and somehow he makes them a team. But if you were to look at his roster, I guarantee you if you were to say, name the superstars on New England besides Gronk and Brady, people would struggle as a whole, unless they're a New England fan, to name guys who would be considered superstars on that team. Who's the top receivers from the Patriots? People wouldn't know that. as a whole, unless they're Patriot fans. So it's two different things. But the reason I give the nod to Nick Saban over Belichick is I don't know if Belichick wins without Tom Brady. Those two will be forever linked together, and it will always be asked, did Belichick make Brady great or did Brady make Belichick great? Belichick has a system. They both have a system. I mean, they're so much alike except for that one area, James, in the sense that Saban has done it without the position that every other you look in the country, in the NFL, and what do they say? If you have a great quarterback in the NFL, you're going to do what? Compete for championships. Well, he has the greatest of all time. Or is he the greatest of all time because he's on Belichick? Look in college football. They say the same thing about college football. Tell me the last team to win a national title without a bona fide superstar as a starter proven. You go back, the Seminoles won it with Jameis Winston. Deshaun Watson. You start naming it, and the only one that can be close to that is going to be who? Urban Meyer's done it once with Cordell Stewart. All other times had Tim Tebow, superstar, okay, at the college level. Nick Saban has done it without having that superstar at the position, and now we get to see if Tua's the starter and he lives up to the hype, how dominant can Nick Saban be? Will Nick Saban go on a run over the next 3 to 5 years, which I think he'll coach, and win possibly 2 to 3 more national titles and get a couple of those while Tua's still at the helm? If he does that, if he wins a three-peat because Tua's a quarterback, then you clearly make Saban the man because now he has the version of Tom Brady at the college level. So that's my thoughts. Nick Saban, the best coach in sports today.